you doing? Hopefully you guys can hear me and see me because again, we're in a vehicle. That's all I got for you. No microphones, no nothing. But we're gonna jump into a bunch of stuff today. Hopefully you guys are interested in hearing about Adam Schiff, because that's gonna be fun. Hopefully you're interested in hearing about the almost 600-pound woman who's suing the company Lyft because she couldn't fit into the driver's car, because that's interesting to me. And then just a bunch of other random stuff. Hopefully you guys are interested in it. If not, it's okay. You can always leave and come back, whatever you need to do. It's fine. Number one, though, thank you for being here. I love you immensely, and I appreciate you all. All right, let's jump into everything. So I got a ton of stuff saved here. Before we get to Adam Schiff, though, I would like to really quickly jump over into California, where Adam Schiff is the senator out of California. But I want to talk about the fires and the issues that have been going on there that are still continuing on. We know that Donald Trump and Melania Trump, a husband and wife team, sat at a table and talked to Mayor Karen Bass, what day was it, like 2 days ago in LA, about how the homeowners really deserve to be able to go back into their homes, how they wanted to go back into their homes. And Karen Bass, the mayor of LA, Los Angeles, she was like, oh no, they can go in anytime they want, you know, nothing's stopping them, blah, 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 blah. And then from the other side of her face, she says, well, you know, in like a week or whatever. We talked about this like a while ago, because it's been over 20 days. I think it's been 20 days since the fires broke out. Has it really been that long? That feels inaccurate, but I think it has been that long. It has been a minute since those fires broke out in Pacific Palisades. But we talked then about how once the initial fires weren't put out, because they weren't contained for shit in the beginning, they had just burned out enough to move on to a new spot. But those initial spots where the fires had started or were started, the National Guard showed up in those areas and blocked everything off so people couldn't get in. And we're thinking to ourselves, all right, they're doing it to ensure that nobody gets hurt, because there could be flare-ups of these fires. There could be issues with the ground, because Pacific Palisades, a lot of those fires are on like these hills. It's like a gradual like increase is what it looked like of how the houses were stacked up in these areas. So you're thinking to yourself, all right, it's for the safety of the people, whatever else. But then Gavin Newsom comes out and does this live interview where he does this little dance and a smile, which is a very weird, you know, body language and facial language to have when talking about the absolute destruction of not just part of your city, but people's homes and people's lives, because numerous people lost their lives in these fires, right? But he's doing this little shimmy and this little dance and this little whatever about how he's got spectators coming through and looking at the land and whatever else, because obviously he wants to turn it into multi-home or multi-purpose housing, because he had signed 2020 or 2022, I don't remember exactly when he signed it, that the areas, the land in that area would no longer be zoned for R1, which is, I believe, if I'm remembering everything here correctly, R1, which is single family home residential. It is now zoned for R2 and R3, not R2D2, but R2 and R3, which is multi-purpose, multi-family, like apartments and things like that, right? So when you start looking at all these different things that are going on, and then noticing the fact that people can't get back into their homes to see what's going on, what's happening there, it starts to look a little shady, right? And then again, like we said, a couple of days ago, he sat down, Donald Trump did, with Karen Bass and some other dude, Rick or Dick or whatever his name was, and they talked about the fact that people should be allowed back in their homes, and that they don't really even need dumpsters because everything's burned all to, you know, get out. So what are we really trying to clean up? But people have a right to get back into where they've lived, to see the damage for themselves, to try to salvage whatever they can salvage, and to get started on rebuilding, on demolition and rebuilding and everything else. And you would think that after that, having that conversation with Donald Trump, that Karen Bass would have at least followed her word a little bit. But I want you guys to see this video that has come out from a person who lives in the area. And I'm going to put up the volume here. We're back to the iPad today instead of the cell phone to show you guys things. But I want you guys to hear exactly what is happening. This is right outside Pacific Palisades, all right?
And then after that, you're able to just go right in.
But why can't I just go now?
That's just my order.
How long is the Orange Pass thing?
I got to, I'm not sure if there's an expiration date or anything.
No, but there's a line.
I fully understand that, sir, but there's rules and protocols we got to follow.
So it's January 27th?
Yes, sir.
I haven't been able to get to my house.
Yes, sir.
for 20 days.
I fully understand that.
And it's right down there. It's about 1 minute over there.
Yes, sir.
And here's my address.
Yeah, I fully understand that.
So you want me to go wait in line for 2 hours?
Sir,
That's what they're told. That's what we're told to advise, sir. You have to go down to where he's telling you, to zone 3, and then you get the pass. Once you get the pass, you're able to come up.
But there's like a mile wait to get into zone 3.
I understand, because there's all the people that are trying to get the passes. But
Right.
that's what in order for you to get by, past this checkpoint, you need to get that pass.
Right, but President Trump and Mayor Bass said that we could go.
Trust me, I understand. I'm just telling you what we were advised by our command
Okay.
posts. They're telling you the same thing. They were
Yeah,
advised by
I'm
their
not giving you
command
guys a hard
posts.
time.
No, I know.
And I appreciate your
Yeah.
service.
Thank you, sir. We greatly appreciate it, but that's unfortunately one of the things that you have to do.
Okay,
Is go
so-
get a pass.
So I'm back, and it's now January 27th
Yes.
at 9:50 in the morning, and I have to go wait in a multi-hour, probably 5-hour line to get a pass to go to my house.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you guys.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you for your service.
I wish you the best, okay?
Thank
Okay, so here's the thing. We can look at this from a couple different directions, obviously, which is what we do over here on Squirrel Tribe. We try to look at it from numerous different viewpoints, right? Maybe it is that they want you to wait in this line, one, to prove that you live there, because they are worried about looters, because they did have a lot of people who were breaking into homes or going into these homes because they knew that people had evacuated, whether the houses were on fire or had caught fire or not. People were evacuating ahead of time just to be safe, and then you had looters that were coming through and breaking in and stealing things. So maybe you have them set up there so you can prove for a fact that that is your home before they let you in. Now, if right now is the only like the first time it's been open, of course you're going to have a long line, and yes, it really does suck, but at the same time, it's why did it take this long to even be able to get into a line to get into be able to go see your home? Absolutely ridiculous. But you have to wonder, I'm not there. I am not boots on the ground in California. I do not live in California. There are plenty of people that do. I believe Devory Darkins over here on YouTube, I think he lives in kind of the area over there, so he may have something on his channel about it. I know there are numerous others that have been posting boots on the ground in that area about what's going on, but I don't know how many people live in the same areas that they're now trying to get back into. The problem here is you're going to have so many pissed off homeowners that this could take I don't want to say violent, but I mean, it could take a turn when you are being told day after day after day after day you cannot get back into your home, and then you are so close, and then you're being told again, you got to go get in this line, you got to go get in that line, you got to prove this, you got to prove that before you can get back in. And then what happens when you get there and instead of seeing your home, it's already been demolished, or you see a letter from Gavin Newsom or from a developer that says, hey, you know, we've deemed, or an insurance company, we've already been through here and we've deemed that your home is non-salvageable. So even though it's a $4.5 million home that you had on this land, we're going to give you $800,000 for it because that's all it's worth, because you didn't have fire insurance, because State Farm pulled out months ago and dropped you, and your bank didn't add you on, or if they did add you on, it doesn't cover you at all. It only covers them. So we're going to give you $800,000 and all your shit's gone, and go about your way. Can you imagine if that is the scenario where you are finally allowed to get into where your home once stood in Pacific Palisades or surrounding areas, and there's people there telling you, like, trying to buy your lot out from underneath you. Think about, I don't know if you guys saw it, but the movie Twisters, not the first one, the good one with Helen Hunt and Bill Pullman, one of the two, but the second one that had the white dude with no lips that everybody seems to like, with the really squared chin and the dimples. Glenn Powell had him in it, and when the tornadoes were coming through, they had storm chasers that were going right behind, and while people were in the middle of being completely devastated, they had just lost everything, they are trying to figure out what to do with their lives, you have these people coming through with a checkbook going, hey, listen, I can see that you're distraught because you've lost everything you've ever owned, and all your memories are gone because of this tornado, but you know, switch it with fire now, but here's a check, and you're so distraught that you're not thinking, and so you take a check and you go, and now what? I feel really, really bad for the people in California. But when I saw that, it made me think of the fact that I believe that Karen Bass is a piece of shit. And I went through all that just to be able to tell you that part. Karen Bass is a piece of shit. So on top of that, y'all, let's move on away from that. But let's stay in California in a way, but with Adam Schiff, that other piece of shit. Adam Shit, that's what we will call him from now on. He has been running his mouth since 2020, probably before that, 2018 specifically, he's been running his mouth. And he is not a fan of Kash Patel. Kash Patel, who will be confirmed in, I believe, on Wednesday as the director of the FBI, or whatever the name is for him. He'll be head honcho of the FBI. And the first thing he's going to do once he's in the FBI is release all kinds of information that people like Adam Schiff do not want released, okay? Here's the thing with Adam Schiff. I don't think anybody likes him. I don't know how he was able to go from the House into the Senate. I don't know who put him there. I don't know why anybody was like, you know what, we should keep him around for a little bit longer and put him in the Senate. But that is where he is. Now, I want to play you just a few videos of Adam Schiff speaking. So just heads up, you're going to hear his stupid voice. I want you, and Joy Reid, because they go hand in hand. They're both effing morons. But I want to play you a couple of videos, and then we're going to have a little bit of a discussion on Adam Schiff, Kash Patel, and Donald Trump. Okay, you guys ready for this? Let's do this one first. This is from 2020. And I want you to listen to what Joy Reid says, and then I want you to listen to how Adam Schiff responds, and then we'll talk about what's transpired in the last, I don't know, 20 days, and we'll go from there. You ready? Listen.
Have you ever heard of somebody getting a preemptive pardon who was innocent of all crime? Who's just an innocent person? Have you ever heard of that? Just somebody getting a blanket pardon, and they're an innocent person?
But no, I think that it's an effort not only to prospectively pardon people for things they have not yet been charged with and may never be charged with, but also it's the president's own family. It's people that have been covering up for the president in addition to his own family. This is the nature of those the president has surrounded himself with, including his family. And that is, it's been essentially a den of thieves environment. And so I think the president views this as his way of trying to protect those that have protected him.
Okay, so that was Adam Schiff talking shit about Donald Trump in 2020 and preemptive pardons and things like that. And he's, Joy Reid specifically said, have you ever heard of somebody getting a preemptive pardon who is an innocent person? And Adam Schiff said no. Adam Schiff said no. Well, on January 20th, Adam Schiff got a preemptive pardon. Before Joe Biden left office and Donald Trump took his inauguration to become the president of the United States, the 47th one to be exact, Adam Schiff got a preemptive pardon. And he himself has said that innocent people do not get preemptive pardons. So if you stop and step back and think about it, did Adam Schiff just admit to his guilt in, I don't know, maybe the J6 stuff, or maybe literally everything else, covering up Russian hoaxes, being part of a Russian hoax, things like that? So not only do you have that, I want you to hear this. This is Kash Patel, and this is why Adam Schiff is currently on TV panicking about Kash's confirmation as FBI director, because in 2022, Kash was asked who should be investigated first regarding the corrupt J6 committee. And his response, the very first name he named is, guess who? And I know you guys already know, Adam Schiff, followed by Pelosi and Raskin. Subpoena their phone records is what Kash said. He said, they leaked mine too, so I'm ready for the revenge of truth to come out. And Schiff knows that justice is coming for him. This is 15 seconds of Kash Patel. Hold on. I want you guys to hear how they say it, because it doesn't equate the same when I just read their voices. Listen.
Kash, in 10 seconds, who are the three people that, if Congressman Nunes is right, they need to call?
Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, and Raskin. Oh, easy day, all day long. Subpoena their phone records. They leaked mine too, so I'm ready for the revenge of truth to come about.
Look, some people will say revenge isn't a good look. I don't care what look it is warranted and it is necessary. With the way that the Democrats in general have treated not just President Trump, but the conservative population, the Republican population over the last, 4 years, and just the people in general. They treated conservative and Republicans like they were morons and like they were just this angry mob of people who had no compassion for anybody else, but at the same time they treated their own base, the Democrats, the libtards if you will, like they were as dumb as they needed them to be to just eat up every single bit of bullshit that was being fed to them by the Democrats. So I'm not a fan. either way of the left. Again, I've told you guys numerous times, I am a reformed libtard. I was stupid prior to the last 4 years, and I think that YouTube is amazing for how I have gone from where I was to where I am mentally, and not just politics, but the way I look at everything. This channel started, February, I think, is 3 years. I believe that this February will be 3 years that we have been here. When I started this channel, it was during the height of the lockdowns, the shutdowns, and everybody being terrified about what was going on with grocery stores and pricing and supply chain issues and everything else. And at the time, because my husband and I had our own large company, we were considered essential employees. So I was still going out and about and doing everything under the sun. And I'm like, well, listen, I'm young and I'm healthy and I have the ability to go to places where a lot of people can't, especially if they're older, if they are immune compromised, if they're immobile, whatever. So I would go to the grocery stores. I would go to Costco and Walmart and Aldi and Whole Foods and just random places, Kroger, whatever else. And I would go and basically report back on what was going on with the food pricing, with the shelves themselves, the supplies and stuff, and then everything that was going on in our country and in our world in regards to the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I realized that over time, over the last 3 years specifically, I can look back at the beginning videos that I had, which I took down the first year of videos because they felt too scary after a while, right? So for my own mental well-being and y'all's as well, I took down the first year because it was more of a, before I really opened my eyes to what was going on, and I was believing the, not all of it, let's be real honest here. I was believing some of mainstream media and letting them scare me into where we were going to be at this point in time on food and on health and on safety and stuff. Never got a jab, never going to get a jab. I knew that shit was stupid the second it came out. And the moment it was mandated is when my brain said, hey, something's wrong here. Something is not adding up with any of this right now. So YouTube, thankfully, being here with you guys on SquirrelTribe has, over the last 3 years, really changed how I look at everything and has opened my eyes to the difference between the left, the middle, and the right. And I would say that when I was a teenager, I was left because I didn't know any better, and I would have fallen into all kinds of dumb shit, right? And during the first Trump administration, I would say I was more middle, more independent, because I was like, well, this makes sense, but this makes sense, but I still wasn't really paying attention. And now, after being on YouTube for 3 years and talking about all of the things that have been happening the last couple of years, I am so over on the right side that it's ridiculous. You will never catch me even dipping a baby toe into the left side, because as somebody who's been there, I can see that it is just absolute deception and based off of lies and hoping that the people you're lying to are dumb enough to eat it up and believe it and then regurgitate it to other people. And I refuse. So anyway, where we were, I don't remember where we were before I started off on all that, but either way, the Adam Schiff issues right now, nobody likes this man, and there's very good reason for it. He is a carrier of disease in the sense of every time he opens his mouth, it is to lie to the American people, but it's also to keep them as uninformed and uneducated as humanly possible. And I think that's what bothers me most about mainstream media and the people on the left, is that it's not just that they are lying to people, it is that they are doing it with the agenda of keeping people from expanding their minds and expanding their knowledge and learning anything that could actually help them and benefit them, whether it's financially, mentally, emotionally, physically, any of it. And that doesn't make sense to me, why you would want to be that type of person and want to live in that type of country and run that type of country. Anyway, back to Kash Patel and all that. So on top of this, this is Adam Schiff. I want you guys to hear this. DC Drano put this up on X. He's got 3 clips, one from 2018, 2019, and then last year, 2024. And he is repeatedly calling for Trump to be indicted, all right? And then he says, now he's saying that Trump shouldn't indict Democrat criminals. Why is it rules for thee, but not for me. It seems to be a Democrat phrase or a Democrat mindset. Rules for thee, but not for me. And it's absolutely ridiculous. But I want you, it's 17 seconds long, but it speaks volumes about who Adam Schiff is as a person and what the Democrat Party is as a whole, in my personal opinion. Listen.
On the day Donald Trump leaves office, the Justice Department may indict him. Very strongly in favor of indicting the president when he is out of office.
I don't think the incoming president should be threatening his political opponents with jail time. That's not the kind of talk we should hear from a president in a democracy.
So again, rules for thee, but not for me is absolutely ridiculous. And you even have here, so Insurrection Barbie posted this up and said, Adam Schiff refuses to answer why innocent people need a pardon. And it's because there's not one single reason. Because again, he said before to Joy Reid that there was no reason why an innocent person should have a preemptive pardon. Then Biden gives him a preemptive pardon. So now there's nothing he can say, because no matter what he says, it either is going to make Biden look stupid, which we already know, or it's going to make him look guilty, which we already know. So this is, where is this one? This is, wait.
Can you answer that to the American people?
Stop it, come back.
An innocent person needs a pardon. Can you answer that to the American people? Do you owe an apology to the American people?
Nothing.
Thank you, Senator.
Nothing. No words, nothing. He refuses to answer. And sometimes a refusal is more admission of guilt than anything. Like, you hear people say all the time in court, I plead the fifth. So I was watching this thing on, I don't even know what it was on today. Maybe it was Tubi. I don't know where I was watching it, but it's called Poisoned. And I've seen it before, and I've mentioned it to you guys before. And it's a documentary about our food supply. And when Jack in the Box had the E. coli outbreak in the 90s, 80s, 90s, I don't remember what. And the chicken and how they do the chicken and eggs and all this other stuff. And I realized then, when the owner of a Georgia company that made peanuts, remember when we had, I don't remember what year this was in. Oh, way too much crap in my brain. There was this massive peanut outbreak. The peanut butter was recalled, peanut butter crackers were recalled, and all these peanuts were coming from this one company in Georgia. And it turns out that they were falsifying their salmonella or E. coli findings. They were coming back as positive, that the peanuts were completely dirty and shouldn't be sent out. But of course, it's profit over people. This is a company. If they don't send out their supply, they don't get paid. Then what happens, right? So they said, screw the people, and they sent these out anyway. They had their person, their HR, not HR person, but their QM, quality management, I believe, person, was, they call them the whiteout princess or whiteout queen for a reason, because they were whiting out the dates from the negative test and putting in the new date so they could send out these peanuts, right? And when this guy, the man, cannot remember his name, he's in jail now for like 30 something years because he killed numerous people because of these dirty peanuts. When he was brought into court and they asked him, they said, if we were to give you, here we have peanut butter made with your peanuts. We have peanut butter crackers made with your peanuts. Are you willing right now, because this guy refused to admit guilt or say there was anything wrong with the peanuts. He said, are you willing right now in front of this court of law to eat any of the products that came from your warehouse? And the guy was like, he wouldn't do it. But the way he phrased it was something along the lines of, I plead the fifth. It was along those lines. But by him not even eating any of the stuff that came from his own plant, it was a complete admission of guilt without ever having to say he's guilty. And now he's sitting in jail for 20 to 30 years. I can't remember exactly what it was. Adam Schiff is the same way. By not answering anything and by not speaking on what has transpired, with the way he talked about preemptive pardons, to the fact that Biden gave him one, and the fact that Kash Patel is about to be in the cabinet on Wednesday and going to go after him, it gives you that sense of guilt, like 100%, right? At least it does for me. Then on top of this, you have our vice president, J.D. Vance, who is y'all remind me how this works, because he's the tiebreaker. He is technically the president of the Senate. Is that how it goes? The vice president is the president of the Senate, or the president of Congress. Y'all, I'm so bad at this. I'm still learning. Forgive me. But J.D. Vance is calling for Adam Schiff's removal from Congress, accusing him basically of treason over the Russian collusion scandal and dishonesty. And J.D. Vance is not the only one that is calling for his dismissal. Thune, I can never say this guy's name. Him and I can't remember the other guy's name. There's another one that has gone on record or been very vocal with the fact that Adam Schiff should be removed. And I can't remember his name. He's younger, blonde, white guy. That's not helpful at all. But there's numerous people that are calling for it. And when the vice president is one of those people, then, you know, that says a lot to me. I am very interested to see what's going to happen once Kash Patel is in office. Now, this is Adam Schiff, real fast, repeatedly lying about the Russian collusion thing. The Democrats pushed this thing so hard for so long, and Adam Schiff,
in which the Russians offered help, which we know they did. The campaign accepted help, which we know they did. The Russians then delivered help, which we know they did.
There is circumstantial evidence of collusion.
The case is more than that, and I can't go into the particulars, but there is more than circumstantial evidence now. So,
you've said on more than one occasion that you've seen ample evidence of the Trump campaign's Russia collusion. Last March, you said you had more than circumstantial evidence of treasonous collusion with Russia.
I've certainly said that there's ample evidence of collusion.
Can you agree that there has been no evidence of collusion, coordination, or conspiracy that has been presented thus far between the Trump campaign and Russia?
No, I don't agree with that at all. I think there's plenty of evidence of collusion or conspiracy. But we do know that.
But the problem is where? So even when that was Meghan McCain, I believe, mentioned it, the way he responded was, yes, he said that. Doesn't mean that it actually exists or that it is real. He said, yes, I've said that. Again, phrasing matters. The way people phrase things matters. Just like we talked about yesterday with Bill Gates when he said a natural pandemic. Okay, why would you use the word natural? Again, phrasing matters. Adam Schiff knows that he is guilty as hell with all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be interesting. And Adam Schiff himself posted this up. He said the power to pardon can be used to right a wrong, give people a second chance, or provide leniency when it's deserved. Or if you're Trump, it can be abused to reward a crony who lied to cover up your misconduct. We must prevent future abuse of the pardon power, and we will. That's what he said about Trump. What's interesting is he goes, or if you're Trump, it can be abused to reward a crony who lied to cover up your misconduct. Is it not exactly what Joe Biden did? Joe Biden gave Adam Schiff a preemptive pardon to reward his crony who lied to cover up his misconduct. The irony and the absolute bullshit that dribbles out of Adam Schiff's mouth every time he opens it is astounding to me. And I need to play this for you just because I find it absolutely hilarious. You guys may have seen this. Let's do this part first. You guys may have seen this picture or this video of Adam Schiff. You guys can see his face looks a little effed up. I thought maybe he got stung in the face by like a wasp or something and then tried to smear doo-doo on it to fix it. Maybe that's a Band-Aid. I'm not quite sure what that is, but everybody was talking about how he looked just beat to hell, right? In a bad way, not a good way. And then this is Trump in LA sitting in front of the fire truck next to Melania while talking to Karen Bass and everybody else.
I was told that Schiff was going to travel with us to California. I wasn't thrilled, to be honest with you. And I saw him last night on television. It looks like he got hit with a baseball bat or something. What happened to him? Something happened to him. It looked like he got hit. It looked like he got beat around. But I'll ask Caroline to find out what happened to him. No, if he wanted to come out, I would have done that. But I don't know. Somebody said that he wanted to come on the plane, but I think he's staying back for the votes.
So that's that. I just thought it was very amusing because Donald Trump, like I said, Donald Trump has no problem calling out anything, making any kind of statement that he wants to make. And I personally love it. And I like the fact that as a president, he doesn't feel the need to kiss the ass of anybody that happens to be in the Senate, in the House, and wherever else. If they aren't worthy of praise or worthy of positive acknowledgement, he's not going to give it to them. So that's that. The last thing I'm going to bring up here is this. I don't know if it's a rumor, okay? So I'm going to have to put it out there this way. I could not find any validity to this. It does not mean it's not valid because they can hide stuff all day long. Like, I can only reach so far. I don't have journalist clearance. I'm not a journalist. I'm just some chick with a camera and a microphone. But there's people out there who are large names on social media who are speaking on this or posting about this. It's the only reason why I'm bringing it up. But according to this, Senator Adam Schiff reportedly, allegedly, used taxpayer money to settle a sexual assault allegation. The interesting part is it was against a 19-year-old boy back in 2013. That is what they're saying. The taxpayer money was used to basically hush money given to a 19-year-old in 2013 against a sexual assault claim against Adam Schiff. Again, I can't find anywhere where that has been mentioned through a news article, nothing through whitehouse.gov, which sometimes you might expect it to be there, but I wouldn't put it past that, because we know that they will hide as much as humanly possible to protect their own. And now that Trump is in office, there's not going to be the same level of protection. 2013, Obama, right? Of course he's going to protect him because it's Obama, and Democrat buddies are Democrat buddies. So now that Trump is in office, there is a possibility that if there is validity to this, that it will come out. Kash Patel, I'm sure if there's validity to this, would be happy to shout it from the rooftops about what has happened. So that's something I'm going to be keeping an ear out for, an eye out for, to see if it is mentioned or brought up by not only Kash Patel, but anybody in the Trump administration. All right, so what else do we have here? So that's the Adam Schiff. There's so much. Oh, this ought to make people question everything. So you know how we had our J6 people were pardoned by Trump and released from jail, albeit grudgingly from the jailers. A lot of them were held longer than they were supposed to be. There was talk of physical misconduct from the jailers to the J6 people that were in there. Well, there's a gentleman named Matthew Huddle, 42. He was out of Indiana, Hobart, Indiana. He got released from jail, right? He was part of the J6 pardons. And then he was pardoned by President Trump. And then he was shot and killed in a traffic stop on Sunday afternoon. Out of all the people to pull over in a traffic stop and then to somehow take their life, it happens to be somebody that was pardoned by Trump from the January 6th events. That feels real effed up to me, because that's somebody who was in jail, who could at this point testify against how he was treated in said jail. So according to this, the incident occurred around 4:15 p.m. when a Jasper County Sheriff's deputy pulled Huddle's vehicle over on State Road 14. This is in Indiana. According to Indiana State Police, the traffic stop escalated as the deputy attempted to arrest Huddle. They don't say why, right? Who allegedly resisted and became involved in a struggle. This confrontation ultimately led to the deputy firing his weapon, fatally wounding Huddle. State police confirmed that Huddle was in possession of a firearm at the time of the stop, but provided no further details about the nature of the altercation or the reason for the attempted arrest. And that, to me, is where the problem comes in. Why are you pulling him over? Okay. If you're pulling him over because his tags have expired, because he's been in jail for who knows how long, that's not an arrestable offense, right? If you're pulling him over because the taillight's out, not an arrestable offense, all right? If you're pulling him over and he happens to have a weapon in his vehicle, well, if he has been pardoned, he's not a felon, so not an arrestable offense. So I want to know exactly why, number one, he was pulled over. Number two, why the reason for the pullover was never mentioned. The reason for trying to arrest him has not been mentioned. The body cam footage has not been released. And why was there any scuffle to begin with? And why is the death of somebody always, not always, but a lot of the times, the result of a scuffle? What happened to tasers? What happened to your baton? What happened to kneecaps? What happened to anything else? Why is it shoot to kill at this point? So that's my question about that. This is the guy. It's got some, wait, it's hard to see him because there's some stuff over his face, but that was him, the guy there. That is Matthew Huddle. So another one we will be keeping an eye on, because I don't understand how this is going on. Oh, here he is. I knew I had a picture of him. So the orange shirt is when he was arrested for J6, or his mugshot in jail, and then that is him on January 6th with the beanie on. I believe that's Carhartt that he's rocking also. It looks like a Carhartt one. But that is Matthew Huddle. Then this is what I want to show you. This is not political. at all, but is being made political. This is a woman who is, she looks like Jabba the Hutt. Like, she's a big woman, and she got on the Lyft app and she ordered a car on Lyft. Okay. Now, as somebody who has used Lyft before and has used Uber before, when you request a vehicle, you get to request what type of vehicle comes to pick you up. If I know that I am 4'8" and weigh 100 pounds, I don't need a massive SUV to pick me up. Pick me up in a Prius, boo-boo. It's fine. It's fine. I can fit in it. We're good. If I am a 600-pound woman, at no point in time should I request a Prius, because I am bigger than the Prius at that point. This is ridiculous. But this woman, I want you guys to see her. This is the woman who is a rapper who is suing Lyft, because when the Lyft driver got there to pick her up, this is what happened. The Lyft driver shows up to pick her up, and according to this, plus-size Detroit rapper says Lyft driver refused to let her in his car. The driver apologized, but said his tires essentially couldn't handle her weight and that she wouldn't fit inside. Her attorneys say weight is a protected characteristic against discrimination in Michigan, and they're filing a lawsuit against the company. What is Big Gretch doing there? How can you sue Lyft? Because in Michigan, if you're too large to fit into a vehicle, it's considered discrimination. If that's the case, shouldn't you be suing the manufacturer of the car? Shouldn't you be suing Nissan or Toyota or whoever it is that you couldn't get through the door in? Like, should you be suing the tire company who could not hold the weight in the car? Like, there's so many reasons here, but suing Lyft makes absolutely no sense. And using your weight as a discriminatory thing is stupid. If she had said it's because I'm black, some people would have been like, okay, maybe that makes sense. If she would have said it's because she has tattoos, maybe so. The whole thing though is she's suing Lyft because the driver was like, bro, you're not going to fit in my car. You're going to blow out my tires. Do you understand Lyft drivers have to maintain their own vehicles? If that woman had gotten into this man's car, and I'm not fat shaming, I'm not doing any of that. That is not the intention here. This is a stupid as shit lawsuit, okay? That's what we're talking about. If this woman had gotten into that man's car, and that man has a small car, and she was able to get in through the door, and all that weight is in that back left corner of the car, that one tire is going to struggle like nobody's business because it has all this extra weight on it. That, I mean, science? I don't know like what that comes down to, but it makes sense to me. It's not evenly distributed. If you have 600 pounds back here and nothing on the other two sides, your car is going to dog walk like a well, that's not even dog walk. That's like a sideways thing, but it's going to look lifted. You're going to look like you're in a low rider that, you know, part of it stopped working. And she got mad because the driver's not going to let her into his vehicle that he has to pay to maintain. He has to pay the insurance on. He has to buy the tires on. He has to pay the gas for. Physics, that's what we're looking for, not science. Thank you. I see no problem with the Lyft driver being like, ma'am, I'm sorry, but you know, I can't for the safety of my tires and for whatever else. This is the same thing as, and again, I am not trying to be an asshole, but if anybody in this live stream happens to be as large as this woman, and let's say you're going to buy an airplane seat, you know you're not going to fit in one seat. How can you get mad that you have to purchase two seats? Why should you be given a second seat for free just because your right butt cheek needs its own seat? That is not me being an asshole. That is me not understanding that type of mentality. Like, it doesn't make sense at all to me. If I was the size of this woman and I saw a little car pull up, I would have been like, I ordered the wrong vehicle today. This is on me. My bad, sir. Continue on along your way. Let me call an SUV. There's people out there making mean things. They're like, you ordered a lift, not a forklift, you know, stuff like that. She's a big woman and she knows she's a big woman, and she's using that to get her name out there and make herself famous and get some money from Lyft. But the problem here is Lyft is such a simp because they were like, this is what they've said. We're disheartened to look at this driver's unacceptable behavior. Please DM us at your earliest convenience for additional support. We'd like to address this as soon as possible. I don't see that that is unacceptable behavior. I see that that is somebody who, if Lyft was like, well, rebuy your tires and, you know, fix whatever breaks in the car, that's one thing, but they don't do that. It should be up to the Lyft driver to say no to a a customer. Just like if a Lyft driver pulled up and the customer didn't like them, the customer is allowed to cancel that Lyft. Why does a Lyft driver automatically have to take whatever customer they pull up to? If I was a Lyft driver and I drove up to, let's just go crazy here. I drive up to some guy who is drunk and is calling me all kinds of names and is saying he's going to physically harm me and whatever else. Does Lyft still expect me to let him in the backseat of my car so just the two of us are in my vehicle? Hell no. Because if they did, guess what? There'd be a huge problem. As the Lyft driver, I would be able to say no to that person and then give a reason why. There is no reason why this Lyft driver should have had to take this woman. That's not how it works. That is not at all how it works. So anyway, this woman suing them is just the stupidest thing I have ever heard of in my entire life. At all. Ever. That's all. I just wanted to bring that to your attention because I found it extremely idiotic. Speaking of extremely idiotic, Jim Acosta, he quit CNN live on the air last night. I mean, he didn't quit. He was fired. But then he quit live on air. And I want you guys to hear exactly what he has to say because it's very, very interesting to me that he seems to be talking about Democrats, but thinks that he's talking about Republicans. And it's the irony. Once again, I love a good little bit of irony in the day.
Never a good time to bow down to a tyrant. I've always believed it's the job of the press to hold power to account. I've always tried to do that here at CNN. And I plan on doing all of that in the future. One final message. Don't give in to the lies. Don't give in to the fear. Hold on to the truth and to hope. Even if you have to get out your phone, record that message. I will not give in to the lies. I will not give in to the fear. Post it on your social media so people can hear from you too. I'll have more to say about my plans in the coming days, but until then, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. It has been an honor to be welcomed into your home for all these years. That's the news. Reporting from Washington, I'm Jim Acosta.
I think more people watched him to make fun of him and then they watched him to actually get news from him. But here's what's crazy. You're going to see more and more people on CNN, MSNBC, The View, all these places losing their anchors and losing funding, losing time slots because we have turn the page, which I do not want to use that phrase at all, but technically, stupid Gwen Walls, that is what we have done. We are in a new chapter, a new era, a new book, a new whatever phrase you want to use. We are not where we were, where over the last 4 years, people wanted to be lied to, and not us, obviously, but the left. We don't trust mainstream media. They have proven themselves as liars time and time and time again. And nobody wants to wait till 6 o'clock to hear the news, let alone a news full of lies or a news station that is so paid for by the left that you can't trust anything they're telling you anyway. Right now, you can go on X, you can go on TikTok still, even though I told you guys this is a new iPhone, whatever. New phones, you cannot download TikTok. I tried, cannot do it. It's still on my old Samsung, which I have, but you cannot download it. It's non-downloadable until it's all figured out between Trump and whoever else is trying to buy it. Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary was thinking about it. Now they're talking about Bill Gates maybe buying TikTok. Mr. Beast on YouTube was like, should I buy TikTok? Zuckerberg may want to do it and just smush it into Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp because they're all one conglomerate, which I think is a horrible idea. But you have the ability to get the news at your fingertips as it's happening right now. Regular news stations are going to be a thing of the past. Even older audiences, which I know a lot of the people who watch my channel are older audiences. It started because of the beginning of my channel. I was more of a help to older audiences who were worried about going out or didn't know how the stores were doing, right? So you have even older audiences are finding ways to get on X, get on TikTok, get on Instagram, get on YouTube, and stay up to date with stuff. I have people who follow me over on X. They're like, listen, I'm 90 years old. I have no effing clue what I'm doing, but you said to follow you over here, so I am, because they want the stuff like as it's happening. And that's what you have to do. The social media platforms, as much as we hate to love them and love to hate them, are the future. At the end of the day, they are the future. I grew up in the 80s. I was born in 82. I'm 43 now. I grew up in the 80s and 90s before cell phones. You know, when pagers came out, we thought we were hot shit if we had a pager, and then we could go find a quarter to go to a payphone to call somebody back after they paged you with 143. And you're like, oh, it's my boyfriend. I got to go call him because he loves me, right? That was great. We didn't have social media and TikTok and dances and half-naked 12-year-olds wearing $100 worth of makeup from Sephora like we have now. That is the downside to social media, is that it has really made young people grow up way too fast, like way too effing fast. And the bullying is like absolutely ridiculous. I'm a bully myself. I already know it. People don't like me because I talk shit about the lefties and stuff and call me a bully. Okay, I own it. I don't care. But without social media, we also would not be where we are. Without social media, we might still be under Democratic thumbs because we wouldn't have had the open communication, First Amendment honesty that we were afforded through TikTok, even here on YouTube, even though they are left, even through on X, now that Elon Musk owns it. You have more ability to have the conversations that need to be had, whether they are left or right or down the middle, right? Don't remember where I was going with that. Either way, Jim Acosta leaving is not going to be a big deal because we're going to see mainstream media slowly die out. And just like Donald Trump said, we will be the new media. Elon Musk says that we will be the new media. That's why Donald Trump has a, what's it called? He wants to allow regular, what did he call them? Social media journalism? I don't remember how he phrased it, but he wants to let people like Benny Johnson, well, he's not a real, I mean, he's already in there, so that doesn't really count, but random people, maybe like myself and others, into the White House for these press briefings, for these sit-down talks and whatever else. And I think that's absolutely amazing, instead of it always being the same people who are then going to turn around and write an article where they skew it completely, where they lie like crazy, where they misquote things that are said, and nobody's getting the real truth of what's going on. Donald Trump will let people in there that hate him, and he'll let people in there that love him. It's going to be both sides because he believes in both sides having a voice. Whether, you know, you agree with both sides or not, everybody should have a voice. He's not trying to shut anybody up. Your freedom of speech is protected under Donald Trump, whereas under Joe Biden, not so much, right? Anyway, on top of that, I'm going to give you one more thing, and then I'm going to let you guys go, because the rest of this is more like entertainment stuff that really interests me or amuses me. We'll have to do that one a little bit later because there's too much. But this here is, Benny Johnson posted this 2 hours ago, right before we set up this live stream. He posted that earlier this morning in the Bronx, New York, people, ICE raided and arrested the Trinidad Aragua gang leader behind the takeover of the Aurora apartments. You guys remember Aurora, Colorado? This is the, I can't really show the guns and stuff, but that's them in New York, in the Bronx, arresting him right there, who was part of the Aurora, Colorado takeover. You know, the same apartment complex where the, I don't remember, it was the mayor in there or the governor, I believe it was the governor of Colorado, who kept trying to tell people that there was no issues, there was no Venezuelan gangs, that everything was perfectly fine, everybody was fine, it's not a big deal, whatever else, because they really wanted to keep all of their illegal immigrants, and they didn't want people to realize that Colorado was turning into a very non-safe place to be because they've gone so friggin' libtard and Sanctuary City, blue, whatever. But this person has been arrested. You know why? Because Tom Homan don't effing play around. That's why. He got into his position and he said, let's go. Daily, we're going to go through and round them up and ship them out. That's the way it works. And I personally am extremely grateful for it. Me personally. Now, you may go to a Home Depot and hear crickets. You may go to a Walmart and it looks like a ghost town, especially depending on where you're from. You may go to a construction site and see 4 people working instead of 400. That's the price to pay. That's the price to pay. I personally would much rather pay a little bit more for anything I need in life to ensure that American citizens have the jobs that were being given to illegal immigrants, and to have safety back in our country and to have our borders secure. That's just me. I will forego this in order to afford that if it means everybody is safe. And the Democrats are not of the same mind frame, which is absolutely stupid to me. They would rather have things for cheaper. F your safety, F the safety of your daughter, your niece, your sister, your mother, F the safety of your home or anything else. As long as I can get my latte or my avocado toast or my whatever, my maid, my cook, my lawnmower guy, landscape guy, as long as I can get those cheaper, that's really what matters. That's why they're losing their minds. That's why AOC is pissed off. That's why Selena Gomez made that stupid ass video crying, because Selena Gomez is an American-born girl to an American woman raised by an American man. Her Mexican father dipped out when she was a baby. So, okay, she's upset because her cook is going to be gone, her maid is going to be gone, her landscaper is going to be gone, and who knows what else. That's what it comes down to. It's not because they care about the people. It's because they care about how it's going to affect them in the long run. That is all. Got a little high horse there. My bad. Not on purpose. It happens sometimes. I hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you for being here, hanging out with me for this whole thing. I do have more. I'm going to try to do another one later on today if possible. We'll see what happens. Got a lot of stuff to do. Until the next one, I guess, have fun, behave-ish or whatever, and stay safe. And enjoy empty Walmarts, like, while you have the ability to just roll through there and, you know, take advantage of it. So I love y'all immensely. See you later. Goodbye. Adios.